So this verse and previous verse, we are in the section where Lord Vamana comes to Bali Maharaj for begging 3 steps of land, and Bali Maharaj promises him. And as soon as he promises, Sukracharya, he is telling to Bali Maharaj, like how this Brahman boy, Vaman Dev, is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has come in disguise to take away the whole, all his possessions, all his kingdom. So now Sukracharya forbids him to fulfill the promise, and he gives the different logic and explanation. In previous verse 38, he's telling how as per Baharvacha Shruti, a promise can be broken, is not considered truthful because it's not preceded by the word Om. So it's like a lawyer, he's finding some faults in this promise. Like, there is always, you have an agreement or something, the lawyers are fighting, okay, in this agreement, this clause is not, this word is not there. So you are not, the whole, not by law also, this, then we have the constitution, different amendments, and then everybody is, like the government is putting some proposition, and then the states will file it telling, no, this is not in constitution amendment, like that. So it's like that. It is always the intent is of law is forgotten in this case. Only the word is followed. So he's telling that because his intention is not to fulfill the promise, because he is afraid that Sukracharya, that Vaman Dev will take away everything of Bali Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj will not be able to take care of me. I will be getting my dakshina, my remuneration. So he's thinking, so he's giving now that okay, you didn't put the word Om, so it's okay, you don't have to fulfill your promise. It's not. So logic that is applied like that. And the next verse, he's telling again that this body is the tree of this, the fruits of this body. The result of this body is good fruits and flowers. But he's telling that if the body only doesn't exist, what is the use? So, and then he's telling that even if the body is based on untruth, at least there will have some fruits and flowers. So he's telling in this argument, and Prabhupada is explaining how that Mayavadis, they say that Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, the soul is truth, but the body, external energy, is untruth. So it is the external energy is untrue, means okay, it's not given much importance. That's why Mayavadi philosophy, they do so much of austerities. But the Vaishnava philosopher, devotees, they have given special importance to the vital energy also, as it is energy of the Krishna, energy of Krishna. So it is. It has to be used in Krishna's service, the energy of Krishna. So here it is the person living in bodily concept of life, for him the body is the most important. So at any cost they try to save the body because they want to enjoy the body. Because body is a vehicle for sense gratification for them. But for as per the Vaishnava devotees, a body is the vehicle to reach to the goal of this human life. That is to reach to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of this body only, one can be able to practice the sadhana or the spiritual practices. So without spiritual practice, one cannot achieve the perfection. So for that, we need this gross body. So just having subtle body is not enough. There are so many subtle bodies. I know everywhere there are subtle bodies. In New York City, there are like so many subtle bodies. Now, they have been sometimes some people say that they have seen some. That's not seen. They felt some subtle bodies like that. So everywhere, just not in New York City. Everywhere there are so many subtle bodies. Because subtle body is like a punishment because they didn't use properly for this suffering it is. So a subtle body, even if the subtle body comes to temple and hears this Bhagavatam, first of all they can't, they don't want to. Then they can't achieve perfection. It's very difficult. There is in Bhagavad Mahatma there is a story of Gokarna, where a subtle body he took in the form of a bamboo tree, and then he achieved perfection. So the form was needed. Even a subtle body wants to perfect, form is needed. So the body is so important for perfection. So so one has to see how to take care of this body, because that is the very important subject. So one has to balance in taking care of the body and also in the spiritual practice. Sometimes some devotees overdo their spiritual practices. They overdo spiritual practices in the sense that they want to achieve fast results. So without balancing, without seeing that one has to balance their spiritual and their material body. So sometimes they overdo, and then they want to do a lot of austerities, and they want to achieve perfection by faster. So there was one devotee, this is the story Radhanath Swami tells many times. There was one devotee, he is in New Vrindavan or somewhere. So he wanted to achieve perfection faster, want to go back to achieve Krishna Bhakti faster. So he decided if chanting the holy name is the means and way, and the means and the goal to achieve perfection, so I should just chant the holy names, I should not do anything. So he left the association of devotees here and he went to Mayapur, like Haridas Thakur, he started chanting 192 rounds or so many rounds. I don't know how many rounds chanting. But he was chanting so many rounds, and then he kept on without associating with devotees. Many months he was staying in Mayapur alone and then chanting rounds. And it went on for a few months. Then after a few months, this devotee suddenly disappeared from Mayapur. Adipurush Prabhu may know him, I think, I don't know. So this devotee disappeared from Mayapur. He no longer seen there. And then after many years, Radhanath Swami saw him in one of the gas station. He's sitting in gas station. And then he goes and asks, hey, you went to Mayapur, then what happened? And he said, yeah, I was there, I was chanting and all. Then, I felt I should be back here and do something. So he came back, and then he is now, are you chanting now? And then he's telling, I chanted all my round that I'm supposed to chant in this whole life when I was in Mayapur. So I don't have to chant now. So like that, when we overdo, we won't be able to balance. We won't be able to take care of our spiritual practice. Same thing I have seen personally in one of our devotee in Pune ashram. He also had the same idea that basically he didn't like to stay in temple and be certain. In temple you need to follow certain systems or certain ways of living, where you are responsible for certain activities. So he didn't like it, and also he decided I'll go to Vrindavan. He went to Radhakund. He started staying there. He took a small room there, And then he started, cooking himself, and then he started, not cooking, sorry, he started going and begging around. He was staying like a Babaji. And then he is practicing, staying like a Babaji, and then he's reading all this Goswami literatures, all these literatures which are like elevated pastimes of Radha and Krishna, the confidential pastimes of Radha Krishna. He started reading the deeper subjects of the Gaudiya philosophy, and then he's chanting and he's practicing, and he is associating with some Babajis there and all. So it went on for a few months. Then our temple president Radheshyam Prabhu, he was concerned about him. He went and spoke to him also once, and then he said, "Hey, come back. You can't practice like this. You won't be able to sustain yourself because you are not properly following. You should take care of your body properly associating with devotees. Taking care of body means just not like this, but associating with devotees. Come back." He didn't listen. And then Radhanath Swami went and asked, Radheshyam Prabhu went and asked his Guru Maharaj, Radhanath Swami, asking, "This devotee is in Vrindavan, Radhakund, is brahmachari. He is doing like this." Radhanath Swami said, "That devotee will never achieve perfection because he doesn't have your blessings. If that same devotee have taken your blessings and then went to Vrindavan and practiced the bhajan, then he would have achieved perfection." And then after a few months, that devotee again, he went back to his home, and then he got married, and now he didn't associate with devotees and chant also. Same thing it is. But the point is that one has to take care of their body. Body means I'm referring to mind and subtle and gross body too, where he or she puts himself in a conducive atmosphere to chant, to practice devotional service. So Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita, he gives importance of taking care of body. In chapter 6, text 6, Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, no, not 6, it is, I don't know the verse. It says where he's telling one should not sleep too much, one should not sleep less, one should not eat too much or eat less, and he is the real yogi. And then another verse he says, Yukta Ahara Viharasya Yukta Karmascetas, where one should regulate in one's eating, and then recreation and other activities. So one should regulate. So that is the. So in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna, this importance is given on taking care of one's body. Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that one should take care of body, sadhana, seva. These are three important items a devotee practitioner should take care. But in this order: first body, then sadhana, then seva. So if the body is not proper, one cannot do sadhana, one cannot do seva either. So that is the so here Sukracharya is also telling, one should take care of body first, because he's telling that, if you give this charity to Vamandev, he will take away not only land, he will take away you also. He will make you as a prisoner. He will take away you. It means like you have to surrender to him completely. So he's telling that protect yourself first. That one first. He said. But the Vaishnavas, devotees, is so ahead it comes. Bali Maharaj says, "It's a fortune that I am able to surrender everything to Lord." The right utilization of the body is to surrender to the Lord, but that has to be done with proper guidance and in a steady manner, in a proper manner. It is. If one overdoes that, then it won't be possible. Like we discussed these examples. If one doesn't do that, one doesn't even follow proper guidance, regulations, rules and regulations of sadhana, bhakti, then still one will not achieve the perfection. So body is like a temple. So one has to take care as Lord's property. It is to be taken care as Lord's property. So one has to do what is required for maintenance of the body, so that if one can serve Lord for longer time, for whatever time Lord is given to us. So that's why one has to take care of body properly and not torture the body. So torturing the body means that one is not taking care of the body. In the sense, like torturing the body is demonic mentality. Demons, they want to enjoy from this body. So in the process of this enjoyment, they torture the body. How they torture the body? Because to enjoy this body, to senses, they overdo things. They fall to addictions, they fall to so many things, and then they overdo. And then they want to enjoy the body. That's like a torturing the body. That's not correct too. So a proper understanding is one has to take care of the body that is needed, like a proper eating, proper resting, proper exercise, proper mental state, situating oneself in proper thing, and taking care, especially this pandemic and other things. One has to take care. How is not affected by taking what is required. Like the precautions, so that we can serve longer. But the demons, they don't want to. They take, okay, now who cares? No, whatever time I am living, I will just enjoy. And then they fall to these addictions and all. They torture the body, and that's like torturing a Supreme Lord, because his body is in the like temple. And Lord is living in Paramatma. So then they are losing this golden opportunity to perfect the human life. That is on one side. Another side is some consider that they become so um, dejected that they want to end this body. They want to commit suicide. That is also not proper, because this body is given by the Lord. It's Lord's property, and only Lord has right to take it away. Not any person has this right. So one has to see that one is properly taking care of the body. There's a beautiful pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita, how none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord, instructs Sanatana Goswami about this importance of taking care of one's body. So this is from Antya Leela, chapter 4, where it says Sanatana Goswami visits the Lord at Jagannath Puri. So Sanatana Goswami is coming from Vrindavan. He wants to visit Lord at Jagannath Puri. So Sanatana Goswami was walking alone in the path of Jharikanda forest in central India. And then he has, because in the forest, he has sometimes eaten, sometimes didn't eat and all. So he was drinking any water. So like that, once he came contacted because of fasting and bad water and all. And he in one way, because he didn't have an opportunity there to take care of body properly because of the forest and especially the bad water he came in contact with, like coming in contact with virus like that. And then his body contracted disease that made his body itch, and then lot of sores, and then there is some fluid started oozing from his body. So then, Sanatana Goswami was thinking, Nirveda haile pate karena vichar, nicha jati deha mora, atyanta asara. So he's telling that, this I am already low born, nicha jati, now my body has also become useless for devotional service. Jagannathe gele tandra darshana na paimu, Prabhura darshana sada karite niraimu. So he's telling, when I go to Jagannath Puri, I will take darshan of the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath. And then Mandira Nikate Sunitara Vasastati Mandira nikate jate mora nahi shakti. So he's telling that, but I won't be able to go near the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's quarters because it's near the temple. And then this temple, the servants of Jagannath, they're always in the temple. So if they touch me, I shall become an offender. So I should not. I will not go and there. So he was thinking like this, like seeing that this body has become useless. So he's telling, Tate yadi ye deha balastane diya, dukkha shanti hayara shadagati paya. So he's thinking like this, that yeah, this body has have to sacrifice this body. The only way, dukkha shanti, the misery I am experiencing, that this body has this pain and this ooze, and also it's becoming useless. And anyway, I am low born. I'm not able to serve the devotional service because if I go to Jagannath Puri, I won't be able to meet any devotees or even Mahaprabhu also, because of I will be offending them because of my low caste. And then my at that time the practice is that if you are born in particular caste, then sometimes they don't even touch you because it's considered whatever it is. So whatever the practice, I'm just telling that's the practice it used to be. So I will end my this body, and then that way I will be attain perfection. He thinks like that, and he thinks Jagannatha Ratha Yatre Haye Bhi Bahira Tanda Ratha Khaye Sakhaye Chadimu Ye Sarira. So he's telling that I'll give up this body by throwing myself under the cart of Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, under the wheel of this cart. And then he's thinking that Mahaprabhu aage ara dekhe Jagannatha Rathe Deha Chadimu Ye Parama Purushartha. It is Parama Purusha, this will become perfection, that by seeing Mahaprabhu and by seeing Jagannath, if I leave this body, then that is my highest benediction. He's thinking like that, and then he becomes resolute like that. He thinks like that, and then he comes to Nilachala. Ete nishara kari Nilachale aila. Loke puche Haridasa stane uttarila. So because in this condition he comes to Nilachala, and then he approached the residence of Haridas Thakur. And then he offers his obeisance to Haridas Thakur, and then he stays there. And then he asks Haridas Thakur that when can he understands the eagerness to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Haridas Thakur says that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes here every day. So the Lord may be coming here very soon. At the very moment, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after visiting Jagannath Puri temple, every day he comes to see Haridas Thakur, because Haridas Thakur also is considered as low born, and is staying far from Jagannath Puri, away from all others, devotees, so that he will not offend by contaminating them by his presence. So, but Mahaprabhu himself, Lord Jagannath, Mahaprabhu himself would come to see Haridas Thakur every day and brings Mahaprasad. So because of the devotion of Haridas Thakur. So at that moment, Mahaprabhu comes, and then he comes to see Haridas Thakur. And seeing Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami immediately falls like a rod, and then first Lord embraced Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur says that here Sanatana Goswami is offering obeisances to you there. And immediately Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes forward to embrace Sanatana. Sanatane alingite Prabhu agu haila, pache bhage Sanatana kahite lagila. He's coming ahead to embrace Sanatana Goswami, and then Sanatana Goswami pache bhage. He ran back. Morena chuniha Prabhu pado tumara paya. Eka nicha jatiya dama arakand rasagaya. He's telling, Pado tumara paya, I'll fall at your feet, please don't touch me. Because I am the lowest of men, and I have been born in lower caste, and then I have this infection and all this these fluids are oozing from my body. Balatkare Prabhu Tanre Alingana Kaila Kandu Kleda Mahaprabhu Sriyange Lagila. But Mahaprabhu, he is also like the Supreme Lord. Mahaprabhu ran and by force he embraced Sanatana Goswami, and then this liquids and moisture from his body, Sanatana Goswami touched the transcendental body of Mahaprabhu and all stick to his body. Savabhaktagane Prabhu Milaila Sanatana Kaila Sabara Charana Vandene. Then along with Mahaprabhu, all devotees came, and then he offered obeisances. And then Mahaprabhu inquired how Sanatana Goswami is and how everybody in Mathura, because he's coming from Mathura. And then he said how Rupa Goswami was here for 10 months and he just left for Bengal 10 days ago. And then how he had mentioned how his third brother, second brother Anupam has left this planet. He's a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So like that they both started conversing. And then he was discussing, and then he would daily Mahaprabhu would come, and same thing it would be. He would come and embrace Lord Sanatana Goswami. So he's telling that. So after a few days, then Sanatana Goswami becomes more disturbed, he becomes more disturbed, and then he's really contemplated. Okay, now Rath Yatra is coming soon. I'm going to commit suicide by falling below the cart. Then one day when Mahaprabhu comes, he says, Sanatana Deha Tyage Krishna Yadi. So suddenly she started telling. Mahaprabhu comes one day to meet him, and then without Sanatana Goswami telling anything, Mahaprabhu starts telling, Sanatana Deha Tyage Krishna Yadi Paye Koti Deha Chane Katabe Chadite Paraye. He's telling, Sanatan, if you think you can achieve Krishna by committing suicide, by ending this body, I will certainly Koti Deha Chanake. Within a second, I can give up millions of bodies without any hesitation. Dehatage Krishna paye bhajane Krishna praptera upaya kona nahi bhakti vine. He's telling one cannot achieve, you should know that one cannot achieve simply by giving up body, achieve Krishna. One cannot force oneself into Krishna Prema or into Krishna. One cannot force Krishna to come to us by these acts of giving up the body. Like how this one demon, he wanted to, his name is, he wanted to give up his body to satisfy Lord Shiva. He's cutting his flesh and putting in the fire, and then he wanted to cut off his head. At that time, Lord Shiva appears and he gives a benediction. So that's like a demonic mentality, like to force to come. But Krishna cannot be achieved like that. That's why they worship Shiva and other demigods. So he's telling Krishna can be attained only by Krishna praptera upay pona nahi bhakti vina. There is no other process to achieve Krishna without bhakti vina, without bhakti. Deha tyagadi yatha sabha toma dharma. Tomara jo dharme krishnera napaye marma. So he's telling that it is tamodharma. You are in the mode of ignorance, thinking like that. That acts of suicide are in the mode of ignorance. And in the mode of ignorance and passion, one cannot achieve Krishna. Bhakti vina Krishna kabu nahe premodaya. Prema vina Krishna prapti anya haitenaya. Without bhakti, one cannot achieve Krishna. Only it means is by by the bhakti process. And then he quotes words from Srimad Bhagavatam also, where he says that, my dear Uddhava, neither through Ashtanga Yoga system or through impersonal monism or analytical study of absolute truth, or study of Vedas, or through austerities, charity, or acceptance of sannyas, one can satisfy me as much as by developing unalloyed devotional service unto me. Krishna is telling to Uddhava. So, the devotees do, there's so many austerities and all, so it's not, one cannot achieve Krishna like that. Only achieve by developing this dormant love for Krishna. And then he's telling that Dehatyagadi tamo dharma pataka karana sadhaka na paya tate Krishna racharana. He's telling pataka karana, you will go to the hellish planets. This type of acts, of suicidal acts, will lead one to hell and can never achieve the Krishna's feet. Prema bhakti viyoge chahe deha chadite prema Krishna mile seha napare marite. So sometimes an exalted devotee feels that because of separation of Krishna, he wants to give up his body, but that is just in ecstatic love, that in that love he again sees Krishna, and then he doesn't give up his body. And then when he's separation, he thinks that I should give up my body. Like Mahaprabhu also says, that I can't live without seeing Krishna. And then so he's telling that that's different. That is, but a sadhaka, this thing one has to take care of his body. One can never think of these suicidal thoughts. So that he says like that, and then he says that, and then Sanatana Goswami says, Nicha jati na he Krishna bhajanya yogya. So he's telling further, Nicha jati na he Krishna bhajana yogya, Satkula viprana he bhajane yogya. So he's telling it doesn't matter what kind of birth in one kind of family one has taken. Even if a person who is born in anything, it doesn't matter. Or a person just because born in a high family or something, he gets qualification. Yehi bhaje se bada abhakta hina chahara Krishna bhajane nahi jati kuladi vichara. So there is no qualification required for practice of devotional service. One can devotional service in any condition, irrespective of one's status. And then he says that Krishna is favorable to meek and humble. And then he further goes on like that, and then he says that this body is meant for practicing, and then it is used for the service of the Lord. By practicing 9 processes of devotional service, one should attain the Supreme Lord. So he gives like that, and then he further says that Sanatana Goswami, Sanatan, you have surrendered yourself to me. That means your body is mine, and you have no right to end it, or you have to take care of it in a proper way. You have no right to end it or to abuse it. So he's telling that, because you have surrendered to me, it's my property. So as a devotee, also like when we take the process of Krishna consciousness or take to initiation like that, we are surrendering ourselves to spiritual master. So and then we should consider that this body and all my belongings are the property of spiritual master and Krishna. So I should take care of them in service of the Lord. And then Mahaprabhu says that through your body I have much service to do. How are you thinking to end it? I have so much of service I have to be accomplished through you. And then we see how Sanatana Goswami has served so much of Mahaprabhu's mission later. So like that, this spiritual master and Krishna has a purpose for us to achieve. So one has to see that that this is the vehicle, and one should take care of this body properly, not for sense gratification, like how Sukracharya is mentioning here, that if you have body, then everything is good. Now, if you do not have this body, if you surrender everything, then what is the use of living? No, one has to surrender to Supreme Lord, but as per the direction given by the spiritual master. It's mentioned in scriptures also, this body is compared to a ship, and then spiritual master is the captain, and the soul is the passenger. Though, and then the Vedas scriptures are the favorable winds, and the ocean in which the ship is flying is the material ocean. By expert guidance of the captain of the spiritual master, one can cross this material ocean and reach the destination. Hare Krishna. We'll take a break here.
It's 8 o'clock.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for bringing in Chaitanya Charitamrita and making amazing connections. Athena has a question on the chat box if you would like to take until the darshan opens.
The question. But then what about the Goswamis and all the exemplary elevated souls who seem to take no maintenance of the body? They do not seem to follow this. Srila Prabhupada even barely slept. Instead of sleeping, he spent his nights translating the Shastra. How can we make sense of this? Souls serve as ideal role models. No, they took care of the body for sure. But for Prabhupada and others, their need was that much only. For us, sleeping 2 hours is like not taking care of body. But for Prabhupada, that is what is needed, sufficient for him. He took care of body. That's why he would go and walk every day. He would take massage and all. He's taking care of body is not like a cookie cutter, like everybody has to sleep this much and eat this much, eat this, eat that. No, one has to see what is one can do. So they all took care of body. All the Goswamis took care of body, not just because they are having any, not having, they didn't have a home. They were sleeping under a tree. It doesn't mean that they didn't take care of the body. They certainly took care of their body. That's what their that is their elevation. Also, as one practices, the body becomes more spiritual, and they do less maintenance. Material maintenance becomes less. Like how here we see in this example, only Mahaprabhu could come and embrace Sanatan Goswami. There are no other devotees could do there in Jagannath Puri because Mahaprabhu is transcendental body. He could embrace Chaitanya Sanatan Goswami with all the pulse and wound, and he would get, and his body would not get affected. No, he didn't contract any disease. The same thing any other devotee or if somebody has disease, like we know if anybody has coronavirus, we have to take care of so much of precautions and all. So our body is in that situation. But there are some other bodies, they are already immune to this virus, suppose. They're taking care of different. They may go without wearing a mask and all that. So like that same thing, this acharyas and all also, because as one is practicing for so many years and all, they decrease their body necessities. They get that Shakti. Until that's what they have the balance it is. If we go to that level without our realization properly, then we'll fall down. We'll sleep from that practice. So they also took care of their body properly. Prabhupada ate proper time, a particular diet and do walking and massage and all. That answers, I believe.